A lucky group of students were able to make contact with the Columbia Space Shuttle over the weekend. Harbor View was one of only 5 schools in the world scheduled to talk with the Columbia crew Saturday night. And they came across this rare opportunity by default. Another school had canceled out, and Harbor View had only 10 short days instead of the standard 6 months to get all of the equipment in place. But they did it, and 8 students were able to ask questions using sarex, which stands for Space Amateur Radio Experiment. The crew is on a mission to release the Chandra X-ray Observatory into orbit, and for the first time, a female is in command of the shuttle.
It's the right time for it. I think that it's long overdue. I think that it's a good thing, and I'm happy.
The way this project started was that 3 years ago, Mr. Borkman taught a class, telecommunications class, and a lot of the students that you saw here today speaking to the astronauts were members of that class 3 years ago, and of course they've grown up and moved on. And when we received the call this summer that a school had dropped out and Harbor View had been nominated to take their place, one of 5 schools in the world to speak to the shuttle astronauts, the Borkmans and Mrs. Kendall, our principal, and I got on the telephone and were able to round up all the students that you saw today.
There was one glitch when the astronauts would answer the students. The students couldn't quite hear what they had to say, but it'll all be clear in a transcript to be released soon on a web page.
Made the conversations possible. We're out of this world, though. You could expect that the questions from the kids were pretty down to earth.
We looked over the meal menus for day 1 as the food good in space, and she said it tastes pretty interesting.
Do you know what that meal was?
Well, some of the stuff was crushed up tuna and other stuff that didn't sound that good. And
a little crushed up tuna for you.
She didn't look like that tasted very good. I don't know.
No. Now, if you'd like to get a close look at the transcript of the Stellar Conversations, you can go on the web. Now, this is not a www dot address.
Gotcha.
No www. It's just members.tripod.com/SARXView. So there you have it.
Call up real orange if you want to.
We'll let you know.
That's it for this
About
edition.
your long-distance phone calls. 20 children made history Saturday at Harbor View Elementary. The Corona Del Mar School is one of 2 schools in the nation to speak with the crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia. The students had been on a waiting list for 3 years just to take part, and they got their wish on this very special mission. The budding astronauts had a lot of questions to ask, but most were directed to Shuttle Commander Eileen Thomas, the first female shuttle commander.
I asked, why did you decide on taking this career and who inspired you?
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's cool because, you know, we're talking, you know, kind of part of history with the first female commander in space. So, you know, that's pretty cool.
The shuttle is due to return in 3 days.
T-minus 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of this.
I asked, is there anything special about the seating arrangements aboard the shuttle?
And what they say?
I didn't hear an answer, but I really don't know what she said because I couldn't listen to the phone.
Houston now control. Houston now control. Roll program initiated to place Atlantis on its heads down track over the Atlantic. Engines at 104%, preparing the throttle down to 67% for max Q, passing through the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Engines throttling down now. Engines at 67.
practice with amateur radios, ham radios, and built radio kits and other things that would help us communicate to the astronauts.
What about you?
We learned Morse code. We worked a lot with putting, like he said, amateur ham radios together. And that's pretty much what we experimented with.
Was this a class project or something you volunteered to do?
It was a voluntary project.
My question was, what goes through your mind during liftoff?
And what do you think the response was? Did you hear the response?
No, well, I heard a bunch of, like staticky words, but I don't know what the response was.
What do you think the response was?
Probably yes, it's probably like it's kind of scary.
Would you be scared?
Very.
Would you like to be an astronaut?
Not really.
Well, we learned like the different things to communicate, like alpha and like the different words, like so that they can understand you better. That's about it.
What about you?
We studied what they would do in space and what they hope to accomplish, like the scientists.
Through maximum aerodynamic pressure at 58 seconds. Moving at 1,000 miles per hour now. Altitude 8.8 miles.
I was going to ask if they had any plans to use artificial gravity in a space shuttle, and what were some of the plans?
What do you think an answer would be for yourself?
That they weren't actually thinking about it, but they had some ideas, probably.
How did you guys come up with your questions?
They had already prepared questions, but you could have a choice if you want to do your own or do you want to have those questions. And I chose my own, and some kids just did the questions that aren't prepared.
Did you think about it, a bunch of different type of ones? You really wanted to zero in what question? You had a couple in your hand and picked one that was going to be the perfect one?
Yeah, I did my dad's question. So my dad always wanted to ask an astronaut the question, so I did his.
I've been willing to have your cell Delta Big Alpha.
3 engines back at 104%. Now it's moving at 1,600 miles per hour. Have solid rocket booster separation confirmed.
I really don't know. But I'm happy we did.
What are you going to ask?
I am asking how and if does being in space affect your physical condition? That was a girl, and that we got to talk to her.
Why is the AXAF designed to focus on high energy?
Okay, do you want to explain what that is?
The AXAF is one of the satellites they're sending up, and they designed it to focus on high energy regions in the universe, so they could like find life or something, or if anything could destroy Earth.
Do you think that's a valuable program?
Yeah. Because I mean, it finds metal